I am attorney Corey Stroll, your tactical defense lawyer, and today I'm sitting at Palm Beach Armament, a great facility as you can see behind me. You can't see all around me, but the entire place looks like this. Today we're actually here to talk about and play a fun little game of, do we have a tyrannical government? And before you go past this video, hit like, hit subscribe, share it like crazy, because we all know if you understand the Second Amendment, we absolutely have a tyrannical government. So even with me giving you the cheat code, let's start off. First, let's talk about the bump stock rule, right? That was something that the ATF said was perfectly legal. We should buy it, you can have it, you can sell it, no big deal. Millions were bought and sold, and then years later, our government turns around, and what do they say? That's right, it's illegal, you can't have it. So either destroy it, turn it in, get rid of it. You can't buy it, you can't sell it, you can't possess it, otherwise they make you a felon. So I'll ask you, does that mean we have a tyrannical government? Yes, the answer is yes. So if you guess yes, you're correct. Slam that button and share it. Okay, same thing. Did they ever compensate American citizens for the money they spent when the ATF said, yes, this is a legal product, it's just an accessory, it's just a stupid piece of plastic, it's a range toy, go ahead. No, they didn't. Again, do we have a tyrannical government? What's the answer? Say it with me. Yes. All right. So, all right, that was a one-off, an anomaly. All right, no big deal, right? It's a bump stock. It's a stupid range toy. Nobody cared. Nobody fought for it. Nobody went up in arms. And then we turn around, and what did the ATF do? Hey, there's this thing called a binary trigger. Binary. I didn't mean to trigger some of you liberals out there. But if you're liberal, you probably already turned off this video. Do we care? Say it with us, folks. No, we don't want you on this channel. We don't want you on this video. Get the hell out of here. So, but let's go back to the idiots at the ATF. That's right. I called them what they are. They know what they are. They deserve to be called worse, but I won't do it because I know this video won't get published if I do. So, what do they do with these binary triggers? Perfectly legal. Great accessory to put in your firearm. It's not a machine gun. Go ahead, sell them. They tell dealers, sell them. They tell American citizens, spend your hard-earned tax dollars and buy them. What do? They turn around and tell you years later, after millions are sold, nope, they're now illegal. It made your gun a machine gun. Turn them in or go to prison, become a federal felon, and oh yeah, we're going to show up to your door, whether you're a citizen or a dealer, and we're going to ask you about it. And if you can't tell us about it, well, you get a free jail to the Gray Bar Motel with some nice silver bracelets behind your back. So I ask you again, right? We're already 1 for 1. Second question in this game show, do we have a tyrannical government? Go ahead, say it with me. Yes, we do. Thank you. Now we're 2 for 2. All right, now we're in the bonus round, what everyone's been talking about. The ATF brace rule with our wonderful executive order signed by Brandon himself. We have this brace, right? You can see them behind me. They're on the guns behind me. They're all different barrel lengths. But what does the ATF say years ago? Just a piece of plastic. Of course it's legal. Buy them, sell them, enjoy them. We've already done the research. ATF published a rule. You can go ahead. It's perfectly legal. So what do hard-working Americans do? We buy them. What do gun dealers do? They sell them. They believe there's up to 40 million braces in existence today out on the market between honest, hard-working American citizens and gun dealers like my buddy here at Palm Beach Armament. So now what do? Years later? We get an executive order saying, I know we said they're legal, but now they're not. Now they make it into a short barrel rifle, even though the guns they're on are considered pistols. They were bought as pistols, they were sold as pistols. Our government was like, well, we changed our mind. So again, what do we have to do? Before I tell you what we have to do, we're gonna hit our bonus round. Once again, do we have a tyrannical government? That's right, I heard you all unanimously say it. You're super smart, smarter than our federal agents. Yes, we have a tyrannical government. When our government tells you something is legal, go ahead, buy it, use it. And then they turn around and say, we were just kidding. If you buy it or use it, you're gonna be a federal felon. You're gonna go to prison. You're gonna lose your Second Amendment rights. You're gonna lose your liberty. You're gonna sit in a jail cell. We're gonna fine you however much dollars to bankrupt you. What does that tell us? That's right, we have a tyrannical government. So all of us watching this video should have been 3 for 3. Shouldn't have had a single one wrong. If you got one wrong, start back over and start the video over. No one's really watching. So with that being said, what you can do with the pistol brace rule. This is why you've all tuned in. There's several things you can do. Whether you agree with it or not is not part of this video. I'm just here as an attorney who read the rule, who looked at all almost 300 pages, which if you look at the rule, that's not in the Federal Register as of today. So we are now in the last week in January, I believe. We looked this morning, it is still not filed in the Federal Register as we made this video. Depending on when you're watching it, I just don't know if it's in there yet. So please go to federalregister.org and make sure if the brace rule has become law and it's filed, that 120 days starts, and we're going to talk about that right now. So here are your options our lovely tyrannical government gave you. 1, destroy the weapon. Who's going to do that? You spent hundreds, thousands of dollars on your firearms that you legally bought, and now the government is telling you destroy it. 2, turn them into the government. Well, folks, if you're a student of history and you even have half a brain, you already know what happens when honest citizens of a country turns in their firearms to the federal government. We know what the next step is. So clearly that they know that's not going to be an option. And in fact, they put that in their proposed rule. They don't even anticipate that. So what do they want you to do? Well, if you have a brace on your firearm that is under 16 inches of barrel, they want you to add a 16-inch barrel if you want to keep the brace on it. Why? Because that makes it a regular length, non-SBR short barrel rifle. It doesn't fall into this rule. You can still have the arm brace as a buttstock because you have a 16-inch barrel. But a lot of guns who were created as pistols, you can't do that with. It was one entire unit. You're not going to be able to put a 16-inch barrel in there. If you had the AR-15 lower with the brace, you can take off the upper and put on a 16-inch. Just remember, you now have that lower barrel. You attach that to anything, that's a violation of the federal rules, the laws. You're now going to be a convicted felon, go to prison because you've just made that an SBR without sending your form in. And I believe at that point you would have to Form 1 it as the owner of the weapon. If you're a dealer and you think about doing that, you're going to look at Forms 3 and you're going to have to sell with a Form 4. And that you have to be very careful if you're a dealer. I think it's just as tricky with you as it is for us citizens here. And I think the government is probably going to go after the arms dealers first before they go after the citizens. Except for people like me who probably called them idiots, so I'm already on top of their list because if you look at me on Instagram, we already know what I think about our federal government and our current administration. If you don't feel that way, well, you should probably click off this video and go put some kind of funny colored shirt on and maybe some Furby ears and a tail because you don't belong with the Second Amendment group. And if you say, oh, I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment, but like our wonderful executive in chief, you're not really a supporter of the Second Amendment, you're not for the American people, you're not for the US citizens, and you certainly are nothing more than a bootlicker. And we all know a ton of bootlickers. Welcome to it if that's you. But again, I don't expect by this point in the video any of those people are watching. So it's just us, awesome Americans who love guns, who love our freedom, who love this country, and we want our country back, and we don't want a tyrannical government. So, I digress. Let's talk about the final way. If you have a pistol brace on your gun, on your pistol, on your AR-15, the government is so wonderfully and graciously allowing us to register it under a Form 1. And they're waiving their fee for 120 days. And that 120 days starts the day that it gets filed in the Federal Register. So every day you need to check the Federal Register, especially if you're a gun dealer, because if you start selling these off your shelves the day that this was filed, and that was the day you sold it or transferred it, you're now a federal felon. They're coming to shut you down and they're coming to put you in prison. I know a lot of people say, well, they're not going to enforce it. They're not going to enforce it. Really? You think this executive office isn't going to enforce it? This is why they passed this rule. This is why they made it a law. So they can shut down the Second Amendment without trying to fight it in court. And they all know, just like the bump stock, it's going to take years of litigation before anything is done. And in the meantime, do you want to be sitting in a federal prison? Do you want your livelihood taken? Do you want your family bankrupt and homeless? Do you want your business shut down? That's what they're hanging over your head like they always do. And again, bonus question, is that why we have a tyrannical government? Yes, that's right. That's why we have a tyrannical government in office sitting over us today. So, watch the Federal Register. Watch when the rule hits. You have 120 days to take every gun you own that is either a pistol that the ATF now deems a short barrel rifle, right? Because you could say, I bought it as a pistol, it was sold as a pistol, but if it doesn't meet the proper form that they've created, by they meaning the ATF, that they created with their little point system, and how many guns do you think are not gonna make an SBR? They're gonna make every gun possible they can into an SBR, so you violate the rule. They're willingly and intentionally trying to create federal convicted felons who are gun-loving Americans who support the Second Amendment and want this country to move forward free with our life, our liberty, our pursuit of happiness without a tyrannical government. But what do tyrannical governments do? They come after you. They make you a felon. They make what you did illegal, and they will bury you if they can. And trust me, folks, that's coming. So what I need you to do, follow the rule. If you feel the need to register your short barrel rifle, your pistol that is now a rifle, whatever qualifies with that arm brace, you have 120 days to send in all the proper forms, all the photos, all your information. If you've never been part of the NFA where you don't own silencers or SBRs, you have to get your photos done, your fingerprints done. It's a process. There's gonna be tens of millions of people trying to do it at the same time. So there's a lot of videos out there. There's a great video from the Gun Owners of America that were at SHOT Show, where even the ATF field agents could not give a straight answer about what's gonna happen if there's a certain time limit where you go past a certain time of your background, and that the ATF is then gonna go into an enforcement mode. Well, what the hell does that mean? Nobody knows, but you and I probably know what it's gonna mean and what it entails. So, get your fingerprints done, get your photos done, go to a reputable dealer. Go to somebody that understands how the NFA items work, that can get your photos done, your fingerprints done. Yes, they are graciously waiving the $200 tax stamp, but again, it's now registered, you're part of the system, you're in the system. Listen, I've already got NFA items. The ATF already knows who I am. I have silencers. I have actually silencers that I'm waiting for now for my 90-day period to expire. It is who it is. I am who I am, you gotta be who you are. I am not advising you as an attorney to violate the law or not comply. I cannot do that. I would lose my bar license. But you have to do what's right for you and your family, right? You have to understand the law. You have to educate yourself. And we have to pray as American, honest, hard-working citizens that we have a federal court system that has a backbone strong enough where they grant an emergency injunction during that 120-day period. As soon as that federal registrar hits the law and it becomes that day one of 120, I already know there's going to be agencies out there working to file suit. We just have to pray that we can get an emergency injunction set and in place so that it doesn't make all of us convicted federal felons, or at least federal felons where they could arrest us and jail us and convict us. Then you lose your Second Amendment rights. So be smart, be hardworking, and fight the system. Don't take this line down. We did it with the bump stock. We did it with the triggers. And now they're coming after the braces because they understand with this new pistol rule, every gun that you bought as a pistol, they're going to consider a short barrel rifle. And you don't get to say, I didn't know. And why do they post a roughly 300-page rule? Because they know you're not going to read it. They know you're not going to understand it. Matter of fact, if you look at gun dealers, if you look at FFLs, if you look at just citizens, if you look at other attorneys, everybody is reading it and having different opinions. And that's what the federal government wanted. They want to create chaos so that you just don't understand it. And if you miss any deadline under the federal government, you are now looking at being arrested, jailed, charged, and literally your future destroyed where you never get to legally own a gun again. And my belief is, even if they don't federally charge you, they just come after you for civil penalties, then guess what's going to happen? In another 3 to 5 years, when we finally get a judge with a backbone enough to say what they're doing is unconstitutional, you're already going to be years and years past your family being destroyed, your business being destroyed, your bank accounts being destroyed, you being even possibly that convicted felon. And what I'm afraid of is they're going to be like, hey, well, when we did what we did, everything was legal. You can't come after us. You can try to sue us. But again, you're going after the federal government who's got more money than God. And every defense attorney out there like me who knows, whenever you see the United States of America versus your client's name, they got more money than God to come after your client. They're going to do everything they can to get every dime, every penny, every dollar, every penalty they can against you and your client. We know this. We've done it. I've been in the judicial system for over 25 years now, former prosecutor, now private defense attorney. I'm telling you, the worst thing you can see is the United States of America verse your name. Nothing scarier, because they don't play by the same rules. You know they do things behind closed doors that aren't right. They say they do, what they present they do, but if you've been in this system, you know the game is rigged. And the game is always rigged for the House. And who's the House? That's right, our tyrannical government here in America. So, thanks for playing today. I'm sure everybody went 3 for 3, or actually 4 for 4, because they gave you that bonus round. So, stay free, stay a fighter, stay a true American. God bless.